Hello, dear. Today I'm going to tell you an extraordinary story of a French woman who was a wife, a mother of 4 kids, and a founder of 85 monasteries all over Europe. Her story is full of exciting but painful drama. A drama of pain, anxiety, death, murder, forgiveness, plague, poor people, sick people, and her convent stories. Watch this full video to know how she managed to live such an extraordinary life. The story of this woman begins in a tragedy. When she was only 18 months old, her mother dies. Her father takes up the responsibility and fashions her into a fine woman, a woman of beauty and refinement, a woman of lively and cheerful temperament. At 21, she married Baron de Chantal, but her marriage also began in a tragedy, for she had to deal with a great financial debt of her husband. Some writers say that she had 6 children, 3 of whom died in infancy, but some other writers are of the opinion that she had 4 kids and not 6. Even though they had financial stress and family problems, yet the couple loved each other very much. Unfortunately, during a hunting expedition, her husband gets killed accidentally. They had lived only 7 years of marriage. She sank into deep dejection for 4 months at her mother's home. To make matters worse, her insensitive father-in-law threatened to disinherit her children if she did not return to his home. She returns to her husband's home and remains cheerful in spite of him and his insolent housekeeper. It was very difficult for her to forgive the guy who killed her husband. She knew it was an accident, but she couldn't reconcile with the fact. She would not look at the face of that murderer. These troubles opened her heart to God, and she sought God in prayer and a deepening of spiritual life. She was able to accept the death of her husband and forgive his murderer. The good news is that she not only forgave him, the tradition says she also became the godmother of his child. My dear friends, her commitment to God in spite of all the problems was so great that another saint living during her time was impressed by her extraordinary spirit. He was Saint Francis de Sales, the bishop who became her director and her best friend. It seems their friendship started before they even met, for they saw each other in dreams and continued in letters throughout their lives. She wanted to become a nun, but he persuaded her to defer this decision. She took a vow to remain unmarried and to obey her director. After 3 years, Francis told her of his plan to found an institute of women that would be a heaven for those whose health, age, or other considerations barred them from entering the already established orders. There would be no cloister, and they would be free to undertake spiritual and corporal works of mercy. They were primarily intended to exemplify the virtues of Mary at the Visitation, of humility and meekness. So the order of Visitation nuns came into existence. The usual opposition to women in active ministry arose, and Francis de Sales was obliged to make it a cloistered community following the rule of St. Augustine. The congregation, consisting of 3 women, began when Jane Frances was only 45 years old. Yes, that's her name, Jane Frances de Chantal of France. After starting the new congregation, her life once again was marred in tragedy. Her friend and mentor, Francis de Sales, died. Her son was killed in battle. A plague ravaged France. Her daughter-in-law and son-in-law died. Jane Frances had to undergo great trials of the spirit, interior anguish, darkness, and spiritual dryness. Do you know how she managed to cope up with such tragedies? She believed in giving, then receiving. Saint Jane fought the dryness of her soul by indulging in serving the sick and the poor. She undertook enormous works of charity. Serving the poor and caring for the sick helped her to overcome her own personal pain of numerous tragedies. This saintly woman died on 13 December 1641, but before she died, in spite of all these tragedies, she started over 80 convents or monasteries for women all over Europe. She wanted to fulfill her mentor's dream of giving a chance to many women who did not enjoy good health, who came from a poor background or suffered from poor social status, but who had great desire to serve the Lord. She was buried close to her friends and Francis de Sales. Jane was beatified in 1751 and canonized on 16 July 1767. In some countries, she is remembered on August 12th, whereas in other countries on December 12th. Well, that was an extraordinary story of an extraordinary personality. I was really touched by her faith and determination to love God and the poor in spite of all her personal tragedies. Hope you too were inspired by her life. Thank you for watching this video, my friend. Keep watching real stories that inspire life. See you in the next video. At your service, the Wandering Guru.